this baseball. This was the first baseball that I caught at my first baseball game. Now, I grew up in the Emirates, and there wasn't much baseball there, but I was Western educated, so my whole childhood, I read about catching the ball at the baseball game. In my late teens, I moved to Canada and was invited to my first baseball game, and I was so excited for the opportunity to catch the ball. But we were seated behind home plate, so we need that perfect foul ball to bring the ball back to even think about catching the ball. But right around the fifth inning, that perfect foul ball happened, and I caught the ball. And I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I was exhilarated, so excited. I was filled with euphoria. Nothing else mattered. My meager bank account didn't matter. I was ordering food and drinks for all my friends. I went back to the game multiple times that season. I was filled with that level of energy and excitement that I could not explain. What is that euphoria that I felt? That euphoria is the intersection of fan engagement, fan satisfaction, and emotional investment in the moment, in the game, in the experience. And that euphoria doesn't just happen with big moments like catching the ball at the ball game. It happens with a whole bunch of micro moments and micro experiences. How close you are to the action, how well your home team is doing, what you're eating, what you're drinking. My name is Elias. I am the CEO of App8, and I'm going to talk to you today about the effect of the food and beverage ordering experience on the level of euphoria, and how that affects how fans come back, spend more, and experience the game. Now, living in Canada for most of my adult life, the sport that I like to watch is hockey. Give me 6 beers, unlimited popcorn, and I'm in a great place for the game. But when I get to the game, that's not what usually happens. I get my first drink, I get some food, and then somewhere after that first drink, I think to myself, oh gosh, I want another. What do? Do I go now and miss part of the game and skip the lines to get another drink or some more food? Maybe I'll wait until the intermission and wait in lines and maybe miss some games at the other end of it. But what usually ends up happening is I end up waiting until I really have to go to the restroom, and then I go and gun it there. Now, there's a couple of statistics that got brought up, and I'm going to share one by QSR Magazine. This one's obvious. Over 90% of fans at games will spend money on food and beverage. But 56% of them would purchase more if they didn't have to deal with friction, lines in games. But now back to my story. Fast forward my career, I'm doing a really good job at work. I'm working in digital transformation at UI. My boss comes up to me and says, Elias, you've got the company box, the suite. And I'm beside myself. The suite is one of the most privileged fan experiences you can get. And in my mind, all of these friction points are gone. I'm gonna have the food and beverage right there with access. And by the way, for operators, the suite is a place where people that go have really deep wallets. And I had the company wallet, so my wallet was deep and I was ready to go. But then I was getting organized for that suite experience, and I get this. And followed by this were several back and forth emails on, how to organize it, how to manage it, what you want to do. And I had a great time at the suite, don't get me wrong, I did. But at the end of the game, I also had to get my guests to wait for me while I was reviewing an invoice and dealing with the payment right there on the spot. So even in the most privileged experience at a game, there were still those friction points. Let's extrapolate that to 76,000 fans. What do those friction points do to the level of euphoria for those fans? Whether it's the suites or concessions or premium seating or everything in between. What does it do to the food and beverage sales and revenue that you're getting? What does it do to operations when you have manual process and and disjointed systems. What if every suite owner or suite administrator was able to see the beautiful food and beverage product on a web page and manage their entire order, what's going in the fridge of the suite in advance of the game, get automatic reminders? What if everything was seamlessly dealt with from an invoicing or billing perspective? What if suite operators, the people that manage those suites, could set and forget it? What if they could see every single event and game ahead of the season or ahead of the year? What if they knew the profiles of every single one of the suite owners and what their preferences were digitally upfront in advance? And all the systems talk to each other, so there was no reconciliation at the end of the day. What if your entire venue was filled with hundreds of channels, of points, where your fans can access your menus and your food and beverage options to place orders? And every single one of those 76,000 smartphones that are in people's pockets are points of sale and points where fans can access your food and beverage options and order. What if your existing site, your existing app, was a channel for your fans to access your food and beverage options and they were actionable? What if your floor map was a digital concourse where people can go on and pre-order and place orders? And fans could order from multiple vendors in one single checkout experience. What if your digital menu was hunger brain eye candy, and every single menu item had a built-in upsell, and every single food and beverage order that went to the kitchen or went to the bar was prepaid with zero staffing effort? The good news is all of these things are connected. By offering a frictionless food and beverage ordering experience, fans will be happier. That level of fan euphoria goes up. They will have more accessibility to the food and beverage options in your venue. They will spend more. They will come back to the games more often. There will be more food and beverage sales. And because it's digitized, your operations will thank you because everything is plugged right back into the system. It's digital. There's no manual handoff. There's lower risk of fraud or of issues, of errors. This is all possible with digital ordering, whether it's pre-ordering for suites catering, whether it's in-seat delivery and food and beverage fulfillment, or whether it's concession pickup digital order. Now, I get asked a ton of questions about this, and I'm going to be here after, so I'm going to have to stay at the 30,000 foot level, but some of the big ones are around sponsorship opportunities, whether that's possible through adding more digital means to sell food and beverage. Yes. I get asked questions about the kitchen and the bar, when they get slammed during periods. What do we do about that? And what about staffing and resourcing? What does that do to staffing? So I'll walk you through a bit of a scenario here. If you in implementing digital ordering at stadium or arena, you can expect a shift in staff, but you can also expect around an 18% increase in throughput in food and beverage sales. But the staff reduction isn't just about, hey, let's remove some of that staff efforts that's going to administrative activities or payment or order intake. You're absolutely going to have to shift some staff to fulfillment. And you can get really creative with that by getting more food and beverage fulfilled and out into the fans, into their seats. On the kitchen side of things, this is a common question, a common problem we see is, hey, my kitchen gets slammed during these periods, and we just won't be able to fulfill the orders. The right digital solution for food and beverage ordering that's built for stadiums and for kind of mass orders will be able to throttle how many orders each kitchen or each concession or vendor will get in a certain period of time and set that expectation with fans so that when that maximum is reached, it pushes fans and sets the expectation their order will be ready for pickup or will get delivered to them at the next time slot. There's a million other questions like that, but that's why I would say if you're considering this, use a guide. Talk to someone who's been there, who's done that, who can guide you through the marketing of it, who can guide you through some of the operational hurdles of those. Now, I'm going to leave with a few takeaways, 3 takeaways, and this is good if you're managing your own F&B. I don't know if there's legends here. We work with Levy quite a bit, so Levy knows some of this stuff, and we don't work in Airhead, so if you're here, I'd love the opportunity. But the first takeaway I'll give is how much can you actually gain internally from the staffing perspective by implementing digital ordering? And these exercises are quick things you could do today on the back of a napkin, or give it to your ops or marketing person to do. Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, order intake, admin, and payment. On the right side, fulfillment and service. The fulfillment and service side is the stuff that's going to increase fan euphoria, increase output, increase sales. And when you do that exercise and you write down the activities and the effort, you are going to come up with all of these opportunities of, oh my gosh, I can shift things from the left side to the right side, or I can eliminate some of those redundant tasks that we do by doing X, Y, and Z. I know I'm oversimplifying, but it's a few hours of work and they'll set you on a path. The second is alignment. Is it even something that you want to consider doing? Look within, look at your existing staff. Are you already cashless? Do you have web presence? Do you have a mobile app? Do you have Wi-Fi in your venue? This is an indicator that you're already on that digital path. And there's way more opportunity to seize through that. And you also want to look at your mission, your goals. And I know this was mentioned before, but it's going to mention again, your budget. Do you have a budget for this? Are you allocating money to digitization? The last takeaway is really around a fear around adoption. What if my fans will not pick this up? And there's a few quick little exercises that you can do to get a gauge of how well it is. Even if you cross the T's and dot the I's, you can go in, add a little button on your app if you don't have one already, or go to your page where you have your food and beverage options and measure how many times are people clicking that button. Put a button on your app and take it to a coming soon page and see how many times are people hitting that button compared to the other things in that app. Measure that and you'll get an indication, are people hitting that button? Do people want to interact that way, or do they not? I'll leave you with this. Consumers today are all looking for that moment of euphoria. They're all looking for a VIP experience in their own world. And digital technology is a massive enabler of it. Whether it's robotics, AI, what's going on people's phones, and I bet in a few years' time we're going to be doing things beyond the phone. It's going to be wild. And as operators, as professionals, we're faced with a challenge that we need to solve constantly, is how do we keep up with that? How do we keep up with the change? How do we keep up with technology? How do we continue to give fans their euphoria moments? How do we keep them engaged when they're at our venue? Whether it's enjoying their favorite food or beverage, or whether it's making sure that they're there to catch the baseball in their big moment. Thank you very much, everyone.